Good afternoon, DFS Army. Happy Monday, August 5th, 2019. Hope all of you having a great start to your work week. Today we're going to look at some cash builds for FanDuel and DraftKings. Talk a little stacks, answer a little questions that you have maybe on today's slate. But also be on the lookout. I'm going to do these MLB cash builds every day through the week. Got NFL preseason Thursday. So I'm going to do a video, probably drop Wednesday night or Thursday early morning for the NFL preseason. Also college football coming around the corner. Plan on coming here and talking a little bit of construction for that. We got NFL coming as well. It's a great part of the season. We also, NBA, when that comes up, I'm going to be doing a bunch of NBA videos, man. So it's a busy time of year, but it's awesome. But if you're not a DFS Army member, then click on the link below, enter code CashKeg to save 20% off your lifetime membership. So let's dig in here to the slate. We'll start with FanDuel a little bit. We can kind of talk about lineup construction, where I kind of see things going, where I see we should probably pay up for pitching today, I think. The low tier, interesting for GPPs, but I don't think I would go there in cash. I think it's a pay up spot for pitching. So I think for me the clear cut two pitchers to pay up for are Charlie Morton or Lucas Giolito. I don't think you can go wrong either way. Giolito has the better matchup of the two. Higher strikeout rate for Detroit than Toronto. Just less power in that lineup for the Tigers lineup. So I don't think you can go wrong here. I'm not set one way or the other on which way I would go. But to me, in cash games on both sites, for SP1 for DraftKings and then for FanDuel, don't get cute here and just play for Morton or Giolito. Castillo just has too hard of a matchup against the Angels that don't strike out that often. Their K rate is under 20%, whereas Toronto and Detroit, we're talking close to 25%. So it's just there's no reason to pay up for him in cash games, and your chalk's going to be Morton or Giolito. We have a crazy high total with Boston facing Montgomery. And if you're going to spend up at bats today on these slates, on tonight's slate in cash, you're going to want to pay up for those Boston bats. Montgomery's just been, God, he's got over a 6 ERA. I don't think he's thrown past 5 innings since he started. I mean, he's a gas can, man. So I think the guys you're going to spend up are guys like, Mookie Betts, JD, Xander Bogaerts, any of those three. I don't think you can fit all three of them in by going up to Morton here, just because they are all priced up. But I would select two of them, and if I had to put two of them in, because we do have a little bit of value I think we can look at here on this slate, especially on FanDuel, is I would slide in two of the three of these guys in your cash builds. Like I said, I don't think you can fit all three of them in without loving your lineup a little bit. It's just kind of rough, only having about a little shy of 2,500 average salary for cash games, throwing three of them in there. And I think we can save a little bit at shortstop, where we don't have to go Xander. Again, if you can fit all three and you love your lineup, by all means, they're going to be on a slate this big. They're definitely going to carry the most ownership. That's no doubt. In GPPs, when you're stacking, I think you get a little different, and you go guys like Vasquez, Chavez, maybe Sam Travis, some of the cheaper guys, or you go lefty with Devers. You can stack the bottom of the order with Boston and be a little different because they'll garner lower ownership. But for cash games, I would stick with two of the three of these guys. And then if we look at some value, people that are in good spots, the one that really stuck out the most was Aquino here. 2K, hitting cleanup for Cincinnati. To me, this is just an easy plug and play when it comes to cash games at that price. It's just, it opens everything up. It lets you get to those Boston bats. I mean, yeah. Just don't overthink certain things like this. When it comes to the Boston guys and a couple of these value bats, right now that's kind of how I would start my cash builds on FanDuel. There's a bunch of ways to go. We got some cheap Milwaukee bats you can look at. If Travis Shaw's in the lineup, he's only 2,100. You can throw him at third base. We can throw Thames in there, 2,500. You know, he's a little boom or bust, but I guess so is Shaw. But there's some cheap Milwaukee bats you can kind of look at to really spend up on some guys we want to attack here. So that's the lineup construction I would look at. If any of you here have any questions or want to know on FanDuel how do you approach cash tonight, just let me know. I'll answer any questions you have. But that's how I'm looking at construction to start off with, is those four right there probably be my core I'd build around. Like I said, you don't have to go Charlie Morton. You can go Giolito. It's really, they're 300 a piece. Really doesn't matter which way you go. Like I said, I'm leaning the Morton side of it, but I don't think there's a wrong answer in cash. What's up, Navy SEAL? How you doing, brother? And why I said in cash there's no real reason to spend down, because there's nobody that's extremely safe for me. Tanaka at 7,800 against Baltimore. That's interesting, but to me, GPP's only. His K rate's not really been there, but he can always put up a nice matchup. So I like him in single entry or in stacks. We come down here a little bit more. I don't like that spot for Velasquez. Savali here is 6,600. He had a great first outing, put up 46 FanDuel points. At 6,600, I can see him being pretty popular on FanDuel for, I don't think cash. I would definitely wouldn't put him in cash. But for your stacks and stuff to get in those Boston bats, you're gonna see him being pretty popular there. I've heard some talk around Porcello around the industry. Man, I can't pitch that guy. He's just he's a gas can, man. Like, he's just had a rough year. If you want to go that route in your GPPs, maybe he can hook us up one. Turnbull, another guy that's in that range. I think you could take a look at for stack single entry. But again, there's nothing safe down here for cash games that I would even remotely look at. So we can go over to DraftKings, see what they got over there. Again, same thing at DraftKings. Giolito's the most expensive pitcher over here. So this is where, if there's two pitchers that I like and I think they're about equal, then I might play Giolito on FanDuel and then play Morton on DraftKings. And that's kind of how you can split up your cash builds going that route. Where just, you're not all in on one pitcher. And if guys are that close, I know sometimes people like to split their cash games up, but if they're that close, just play the price point game if you're playing both on DraftKings and FanDuel. So I'll roll, say you want to roll Morton here, Giolito on DraftKings, and then SP2. Again, Porcello 6,400. And if there's chalk Porcello, I'd rather just get off that. And like I said, Savale here is in 6,900. You're probably going to be popular with people looking at how great of a game you put up there. But so I don't mind throwing him in there for cash. He's probably who I'd go at SP2. It's a little risky, but again, this Texas. So if you got that, you got about 4K left for your average salary for your hitters. And again, we talked about Boston. Now Boston is really priced up here. I mean, you got a $400 difference here from JD and Mookie. I don't know if you can fit both of them in cash, but if you did start the same kind of thing there, you're down to 3,600. Again, now if Travis Shaw starts again today and you need a cheap bat, he's 2,600. You can slide him into third base, and it helps out a little bit. But You throw a couple 5K guys in your cash game when you spin up a SP1, it does hurt a little bit. What's up, Dewey? How you doing, brother? But that's how I'm looking at DraftKings right now is kind of that approach. I really don't know if I want to go both those Boston at bats, but I want to have, if we just look at the Boston salaries and see what they're looking like here on DraftKings, they're going to be the most popular stack tonight. On a slate this large, I don't think you have to, ownership's not going to be a huge deal, but they're going to be the most popular stack with that implied run total. But if we look at these guys, Devers 55, everybody is priced up. If Travis is in there, again, Travis is 3,400. We can play him at first base or outfield. I don't mind throwing him in there at that price. If we get, Bradley 3,900, said Vasquez at 4,200, Chavez 4,300. Any of those guys I don't mind against a lefty. And so you might only have to pick, say, one of these guys, and say you want to go down to JD, and then we want to throw in Travis, and then we want to throw in, I don't know here. Let's go Chavez here. So right there, if we just do that, now we got just under 4,300 for average salary, and that opens up things a little bit, and we get some of that Boston love here in cash games. So I don't mind going that route. And like I said, if you're playing single entry GPP, or if you're stacking tonight, you don't have to fade Boston, but just get different with your Boston stacks. Maybe leave off JD in some of them, maybe leave off Betts in some of them. Don't use the top of the order, which will be more popular. Use the bottom of the order, and that'll make yourself different. And maybe JD and Mookie have a rough night, and the bottom of the lineup just goes off. So that's one way to get a little different. But that's how I attack cash games on either site. I think it's kind of straightforward when it comes to pitching. And then again, it's just get a few Boston bats in there. I don't think you can fit more than 2 or 3 in there for cash if you're paying up for pitching. Let's just look real quick, see pricing wise. Vasquez is only 2,600 over here. Travis is 2,400. So even paying up for pitching, and say you throw in Vasquez and Travis, and you got JD and Mookie, and you throw in Aquino, you're talking, you can still make a great lineup with throwing Morton in there on FanDuel. So doing that, I think you'll be a little different. And, you don't have to go completely off the board. So, but that's how I look at it. If anyone has any questions, I'll answer them. If not, I'll start building some lineups and drop my sheet here soon. I'm almost done with it. Hopefully more lineups come out before I drop it. But if not, make sure you follow in Slack while we, drop any hitters we see that might be cheap, kind of like Aquino there. I mean, it's kind of a free square for cash games. But if we can find some cheaper bats to pay up for some of them great Boston bats, then I'll drop them there in Slack as we get closer to lock. Sean just getting in. He says Morton over Castillo. Yeah, man. For me in cash games, it's too easy. Morton or Giolito over Castillo. Castillo's more a GPP play because he'll be lower owned. I definitely wouldn't overthink that. I wouldn't pay for him in cash games. Not against the Angels lineup. He's going to be, now again, no problem putting him in at 150, but that's how I'd go about it. Thanks for the sub, man. Appreciate it. Pug Kong Palmaster. Love that. That's awesome. Got to play some Metallica for intro music. Yeah, I wish I could. I'd probably get in trouble for doing that, man. But I definitely wish I could. Yeah, man, I appreciate it. I'm with you there, Kent. I type faster than my brain allows it, so I screw up all the time when I type. I'm sure you guys notice that in Slack once in a while. What other questions you guys got? What other stacks you guys liking tonight? Again, Boston's definitely going to be the chalk stack of the night. Look for CG stacks. He'll drop them. He usually drops them a couple hours before lock. That's one of the places I always look to see, the model that CG has and what his stacks are popping. I'm sure Boston's going to be number one there. Milwaukee, like I said, they got some real cheap bats, so you could fit in a stud pitcher like Morton and some cheap Milwaukee bats like we talked about with Thames, Shaw, old Moose, Yelich. All them lefties fit right into there. I don't know. I guess Tampa Bay is not a bad off the board stack. Cincinnati, I don't mind them if you have as a one off, but they're not. It's basically for me. It's Milwaukee, the Dodgers, Red Sox are the top three. I guess I could put the Yankees in there. They're kind of getting beat up now, but Didi's nice. Torres got hurt, so I don't know if he ain't going to be in there. But then you got Urshela in there for cheap. I don't mind him. But I like the Dodgers against Waka, even in cash games. I think we can look at a few of those Dodger bats. I know Peterson's had been cold at the plate, but he's usually leading off at 2,900. Definitely don't mind him. Like you said, he's had a pretty cold bat, but leading off, might look at him more at GPPs, just how cold he's been. Muncy, either the 2-hole or the 5-hole. He went yard last night. He's definitely in play at cash at second base. Love him on FanDuel. But says, how has your August cash and hybrid lineups been going? Cash has been going so-so. Hybrid's not been going great because I've been kind of boom or bust with those because I've been doing 4x4 stacks with a cheap pitcher, and I've missed the cash line on them 2 out of 3 nights. And when you go boom or bust like that, it's rough because if your stacks don't go off, that happens. So haven't been good at the hybrid, but I'm going to keep it going for at least a week or two and see if I can turn around, because when you stack like that, it only takes one big night, and it turns around all those zeros that you get when you're bubbling your single entry as you go for the big home run in them hybrids. And that's what I'm kind of doing in my hybrid builds. So I didn't play yesterday. I don't like to play on Sundays, but I will play some cash if I have the time to do it. But yeah, it's been up and down. I can post where I'm at after tonight and kind of see where I'm at with things. But I kind of like tonight. I feel like it's a big enough slate where we know where the chalk is going to be, and we have enough value, especially on FanDuel, to fit in some of those chalk bats and just let others make the mistake. Trent Grisham's 2,200 again on FanDuel. Yeah, hopefully leading off. Yeah, we can slide him right in there if he's leading off. Like I said, there's a lot of value on FanDuel to be able to fit those expensive Boston bats and expensive pitchers. So they tend to be well underpriced compared to DraftKings, where their algo is just completely off. But that's how I'm looking at things, man. Like Vertigo at all on FanDuel, depends on where he's hitting. He's 2,800. If he's out of the 2-hole, yeah, I like him. No problem there, especially that price. If they got him hitting down in the 7-hole, I would just save him for GPPs, unless he's your last piece. If he's if he's sitting out of the 2-hole here, he's been a lot safer to play than Jock. So I'd probably prefer him over Peterson, just with how well he's been hitting compared to Jock. So is 4x4 a must for hybrid? No, it's not at all. I mean, you could just take your cash build pivot 2 or 3 pieces from your cash build with more guys that have more home run upside around the same price, that's perfectly fine to do. You can run a 4-3-1. I don't mind doing that. I was just kind of testing to see some stacks like that to see how it pan out, because it's kind of new running the hybrid off the cash lineups and just kind of see how it does. But no, there's no specific for a hybrid, not at all. There's a couple ways to approach it. I guess. All right, Dewey. All right, stay safe, brother. Yeah, that's so that's how we'll approach things today. Like I said, I'll be in Slack all the way up until lock. I'll drop my cash sheet here shortly, and then we can just talk shop all the way up until lock. So it's been fun, and I will see you on the flip side. Deuces.